The jobs are also on the line. The citrus industry in Florida employs 45,000 people.
And as we go to weather, we want to let you know that the death toll is rising in the island of Barbuda in the Caribbean. The death toll has now risen to 3 because Hurricane Irma went over that island with some powerful winds. Doug, can you fill us in on that?
Yeah, I mean, looking at some of the data coming out of the Barbuda area, the last known wind gust in Barbuda was 155 miles per hour before the gauge broke. And that was when the eye of the storm was making its way right over that very small island. Other islands that have been hit by this, St. Martin's, St. Thomas, around the St. John area, the Virgin Islands being hit very strong, and now just to the north of Puerto Rico. Now, Puerto Rico not going to get in on the eye wall. The eye wall is right here. Here's the eye of the storm, a very clearly defined eye, and you see the thunderstorms wrapping around that eye. Now, when you have that, this is where you have that 185-mile-an-hour winds right around the eye. The hurricane force winds only extend out about 100 miles here, so they don't make it their way all the way towards San Juan or towards Puerto Rico. But this band right here, a very intense band, would not be surprised if we were seeing wind gusts over 70 to 80 miles an hour in towards portions of Puerto Rico. So very heavy rain there, and of course some very strong winds. But the eye continuing to move up and away from Puerto Rico. Very good news there. You can actually see that that movement to the north across the islands that we saw, and we're seeing devastating pictures from them. And now as far as the track goes, not a lot has changed over the last say 12 hours. Again, we do have Jose, we do have Katia, both hurricanes, but not going to affect the U.S. at all. Katia is going to affect parts of Mexico with some heavy rain, but it will not come back into the Gulf as far as areas around Houston go. Now, Irma, 185-mile-an-hour winds with a Category 5 hurricane moving west-northwest at 16 in towards the Bahamas as a devastating Category 5 storm, and then in towards and around Cuba. The latest computer models yesterday, they were all kind of shifting to the east. Today, they're kind of shifting back to the west, right into South Florida. This is going to be very interesting to see. It does bring it into the South Florida region as a Category 4. Let's talk more about what the categories mean. Amelia's here with a little bit more on what you can expect from different types of storms.
Yeah, exactly, Doug. So when we rate hurricanes, they're on a category of 1 to 5. Take a look at the various wind speeds here. A Category 1 storm has winds anywhere sustained at 74 to 95 miles an hour. Then you hop up to a Category 4, and that has winds anywhere from 130 to 156 miles an hour. A Category 5 hurricane, which Irma is and has been for quite some time now, has winds over 157 miles an hour. So take a look at what this actually means. It just doesn't get a little bit worse with each category. It gets exponentially worse. So what that means is a Category 5 storm is 500 times more damaging with the winds than a Category 1 storm. To give you an idea right now, South Florida could have a direct hit potentially with a Category 4 hurricane, and that would be 250 times worse than a Category 1 storm. And also, guys, that means sustained winds greater than 130 miles an hour, potentially around parts of South Florida. And right now, we're kind of looking at the Keys and Miami. But of course, Doug, that is going to change still as we move on with time.
Yeah, the exact track is going to change. You notice this is the path of uncertainty, and as we get closer to it, the path of uncertainty, the cone of uncertainty comes a little bit smaller here. It's about 500 miles to the north, and it's about 150 to 200 miles around the Miami area. After Jacksonville moves up towards our region, but once again, we are not expecting this storm to be very strong at all when it gets here, just dealing with some rain as we track Irma for our region next Tuesday and Wednesday. But ahead of that, the next 5 days here, absolutely beautiful. Temperatures below average in the 70s, but lots of sunshine. Much more on Irma and its track coming up at 6 o'clock.
All right, Doug. Thanks, Amelia. Is in the books for the kids in Prince George's County. Some spent their first day in a new high school. All the students at the new Fairmont Heights High School, they're getting a new laptop because the textbooks are now digital. And our Molette Green was in the Marlton community early this morning. Dad sent their kids off with high fives and words of encouragement, each father taking the fatherhood pledge, vowing to be a great example for their kids, and we are seeing it right there. How sweet is that?
What a great start. I put that on my Facebook page today. Go Dads. Well, as a dad or mom, there are few things worse than getting a call saying your college-age child is being taken to the emergency room. Now